today we're embarking on a conversation that has been a driving force behind the world's greatest transformation: affordability, scaling, and accelerating innovation for women and the young generation. So we need to hear it from the horse's mouth. In case you're wondering, I'm just about to introduce a team of beautiful women who are coming as our panelists here. And we'll start with Bridget Nakakuyu. Let's have Charlotte, Neeza, Emily Nakabuye, and Sharon, Nambozo. As our beautiful panelists walk in here, please, in case you are wondering why I did not introduce my panelists and give them like a bio about themselves, I really wanted to hear it from them. I would like each and every one of you, in less than a minute, please introduce your wonderful self to us. Give us a bio about yourself.
Hi everyone, I am Bridget Nakakuyu Wamai. I'm the head of finance at HiPipo. It's nice to see you and you're welcome.
My name is Charlotte Neeza. I'm a techpreneur and I work as a FinTech events manager at HiPipo. It's great having you all here today.
My name is Sonia Nakabuye and I am the co-founder and CEO at eMoments. eMoments is a multi-business company that deals in many sectors. These include FinTech, financial technology, commerce, and media. It's the parent company to Pesajet, a FinTech product that it resells services to sectors like agriculture, merchants, and education. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nambozo Sharon. First of all, I'm a lawyer. So I'm very passionate about everything legal. And my passion for legal services drove me to start a business advisory company, Avalon Advisory. It's a new company. So in my day-to-day, my day 9 to 5 work is basically offering 360 legal services. But under my new company, I'll be targeting offering legal services to small businesses, because I realize there is a problem with small and medium enterprises and startups with accessing affordable legal services. So that will be something that you can benefit from largely. I'm also the chairperson of my alumni circle. I don't know whether there is anyone from St. Joseph's Girls in Zambia in the house. The chairperson. I'm also a trademark agent. So the conversation today is very personal for me. And I'm going to be sharing insights from my experiences, and I hope I get to learn from you. We share challenges, and I'll be happy to share solutions and learn today. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree with me that we have put together a brilliant team of panelists to tackle this topic with us. You will all agree that you've witnessed innovation and scaling in numerous changes. Back in that day when I used to go to school, don't ask me where I went to school, but anyway, we had a photographer called Mr. Baguma. So Mr. Baguma would take photos, and we would wait like for a week for him to deliver those photos, and you'd be wondering, is he going to lose them? By then, they used to call it those little negatives that people used to, develop their photos from. But now, as you can see, the team of social media right now, they're taking photos and immediately they're uploading on different various platforms. It is that quick. It is that simple these days. So we are going to talk about innovation and scaling. And the first question today will go to, I think I'll go with Emily first. Emily, you're in Generation Z. And I'm sure for you, you've seen the scaling more than the baby boomers. Is that what they call them? Yeah, so, and again, you've told us you're a young innovator at your age. We commend you for that. So I would want you to tell us what challenges, as an entrepreneur and innovator, what challenges are you meeting in the market today? How can we, let's talk about those challenges and see.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So I want to communicate to you openly about the challenges. I know most of the people here are innovators and entrepreneurs and people trying to grow their businesses. So personally, as an innovator and a young entrepreneur, the biggest challenge, we're not going to lie, is access to funds. It's been very difficult to access funding, but then again, we have to look for solutions to how we can get these funds. So personally, what I've done is engage in activities where I will meet people who are going to empower me, mentor me, connect me to people who are going to be able to sponsor and invest in the things I'm passionate about in my business. Then networking with each other. Today we're here. There are very many people with different abilities. It's not, when we talk about funding and capital, I believe it's not only about money, it's even about the skills, the way people can invest themselves in your business to make it grow. So that's another way we can cap that problem. Then another one is balancing affordability with quality. So as a person starting a business at a young age, most of the ideas are, oh my God, I want to be successful. I want to have this and that. I want to put this there. I want it to look a certain way. But then when we sit down to analyze the ideas, you realize that these things, they cost money. They cost a lot of time, which as a young entrepreneur, you probably have, let's say you're in campus, you're in secondary, you have a lot of things you're trying to do, the coursework, you have a lot of things to do, plus home assignments. So it's very difficult for you to exactly go work and make the money that you want to put in and bring out your idea the best way possible. So it's very hard for you to balance affordability and quality. But then you'll have to remember that starting as a young entrepreneur, you'll start small. That's what I've learned through the journey I've gone through. You have to start small. You have to strategize. I had a conversation today earlier with a champion. I don't think he's around anymore. He told me that it's very important to strategize. You might have an idea, and yes, you want it, you have a vision of where you want to be, but getting there is going to be a very big problem. Therefore, you have to strategize. You have to make sure that when you put your idea out there, you are speaking to the people, you're asking them, so I've put this there, what do you think about it? When they give you the feedback, that's when you strategize. That's when you put in and try to make the idea better each step of the way. And that's a principle that I've been going by. Then another challenge I can pinpoint is clash of ideas. Sometimes as young entrepreneurs, we have so many ideas. We have, okay, so I want to put this in my business. I want to put that in my business. But then I have maybe another business that I want to start up. Therefore, the ideas keep on changing. They keep on clashing. That's a problem that I faced personally. But a way that I've managed to solve it is by looking for mentors, looking for people who are going to guide me and direct me and be like, Emily, this is great. These are amazing ideas, but you need to focus on something. There's something that I've learned, that is when you go into venturing as an entrepreneur, you need to have two things. You need to have three things actually. The first thing is yourself, the entrepreneur. Then you need to have a coach. Then you need to have a mentor. Now, someone may think that a coach and a mentor are precisely the same thing, but actually they are not, because the coach is the person who's going to be in the field with you, working with you, telling you, reminding you that, okay, so we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Do you remember that? Let's go and do this. That's the person who's going to be on your field. You're working with them. But then the mentor is the person you'll go to and be like, so we've done this, but what do you think? Then they will give you more ideas and insight on the direction that you should be leading. As an entrepreneur, I think there are two last major problems that I've faced, and that's being unable to define market. You have an idea, but you're unable to define the market that you want your idea to be best in. And therefore you face challenges that you're not making as many profits as you want to be making because you do not have a clear, straight, directed mind as to who you're trying to cater for. And then the last major challenge is the stereotypical behavior in our societies, in the sector, because as an entrepreneur, as a young innovator, they expect you to maybe look a certain way, be a certain way, be a certain age. You have to be, let's say, you have to be a man, let's say big, or you have to have a mustache, because they feel like that's where the trust is. That's who you can trust, the people who have been in that business for a long time. But then that's actually a very solvable challenge these days because the sector is changing, minds are opening up, the ideas and the minds are maturing, whether for the better or for the worse, but for this sector specifically, it's for the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Before you put down your microphone, just to pick your brain, you talked about funding, right? So when you were starting up this business, you're doing PesaJet and e-moments. Did you at one point think that someone will come and fund your business? Did you have any money that you put on the side? Or did you start this innovation thinking that you're going to get in people to fund you?
When I was starting PesaJet e-moments, ideally, yes. The idea was that I'm going to get people to fund me. Along the future, I will get people to fund me. But then when I actually learned what it means to be an entrepreneur, what it actually means is to be fast on your feet, to think of new solutions, to think of ways to be better. As an entrepreneur, every day you're growing, you are changing, you're planning. And I learned that the first ever investors that are going to help you is the people around you. And most times it's your family. Therefore, the first investors were people I knew, people who are family, people who are friends of family. And that's how we're here today. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyway, let's go to the next panelist, Bridget. What financial models work best for affordability scaling as women-led and youth?
I am glad to be seeing women, young women here with us. So I'm happy that the gap we're trying to bridge as innovators is already taking place. So there's a number of financial models that exist currently in Uganda, in the world at large. However, they're not tailored to meet the needs and challenges that women and youth face. If we are to break them all down, out of 100, you're going to find only 5 will actually benefit or are easily accessible to women and youth. For example, if you were to start with the one Mr. Chairperson talked about, the EEE, the Impact Investment Funds, that is something as women that we can strategically access. If you have an idea, your innovation is trying to solve a problem, it's trying to achieve impact, it's part of the SDGs that he talked about. This is something that you can apply for and compete with other people. It is not specifically for women. However, as long as your idea meets the criteria, it is something we can go for. So impact, we can start with the impact investment funding. We can also look at ones that actually work with us, that resonate with us as women. I'm a beneficiary of circles. I don't know whether I know. She mentioned she's a chairperson for her former school, chairperson for the circle. A number of women benefit from having a pool where they can have access to money, and it is at a low interest rate. You have it, it's available to you. The more you save, the more credit you have access to. The requirements to access that money are very limited or none, depending on the organization of the circle that you're in. So youth, I know the attitude towards circles is usually, if I may say it in Luganda. It is not. I am part of a circle, and there have been rewards and impact that it realized from this circle. It has been a journey for me. It was a learning process. Initially, I didn't know how it works, but I took time. I consulted. I'm now part of 3 Bibinas, and I'm proud to say you should join a Chibina. That is money that you can easily access to fund your business. We can also look at our digital platforms. Use digital financial services. We have MTN, you have Airtel. MTN has more cash, Airtel has Wewole. If you can borrow to buy food from Cafe Javas, you can borrow money to fund your business. It might not be enough, but it's a start. It's enough for you to make a payment on Google Ads. It might be enough for you to make a delivery to one of your clients. It's something that you can start with. We start with things that can be easily accessible to us. If we have limited access to formal loans, let's look at microfinancing. As women, we have BRAC Uganda that is giving microloans at a very low interest rate to us as women entrepreneurs. We should be utilizing things that are tailor-made to solve issues for women and young people. While we are competing with other people in the world, we're competing for the same resources. We start with those that are tailor-made for us. We can also look at revenue-based funding. If you've started your startup, you're looking for money, you have your projections for revenue, you've started, the 1 year is done. You already know how much money you make at the end of the year, or how much you're going to be making next year, how much you anticipate to make. You can start with looking for funding that is focused on revenue, so that the pressure of you growing interest and debt is reduced on you. So the burden only relies on how much you make. That little part, they take a little percentage. It's an exchange you're giving the investor. You're saying, when I make money, I'm going to give you. When I don't, we are all suffering. So it reduces the pressure on you, also reduces the pressure on your business, on your innovation, on your startup. You start with something that will not stress you, because the first 5 years of your creation of the company and the startup and innovation are very important. When you reduce the pressure of all the other factors that you cannot control and put it on just creating a product that is solving a problem, I believe it will be successful.
Bridget, from what I take from you, as women, we should not shy away to access funding and make use of the likes of IEEE. We should be into the Bibinas, like Bridget is saying, but I think the most important thing is for you to be honest. Let them not lend you money and then you decide to take off to another city. The next question to you, Charlotte. In this male-dominated industry, as you can see, women, we are trying to really voice out our needs and to be heard. So in the male-dominated industry, how can the fintechs be leveraged to increase financial inclusion for us women?
Okay, thank you. Just for all of us to be on the same page, I would like to first define some keywords here. FinTech, that is financial technology. And financial technology is the use of technology by financial services to cost effectively and efficiently deliver financial services to people. So in this world that we are in right now, and before the birth of fintechs, how were financial services like? How were they delivered? Being that fintechs make financial services to be cost effective and efficient, that means before we had financial fintechs, the financial services were not effective. They were not efficient. Why do I say that? Previously, as you know, traditionally, looking at the banks, they were mainly in cities. And looking at women innovators and the youth, mostly women at home, we are looking at the last mileage people, women at home, they are managing homes. The youth, they don't have the capacity yet to access these financial institutions like banks. You know what all we are required to have to open up a bank account? For example, there is a minimum amount you should have. Recently, there is a company that I run and manage, and I wanted to open up a business account. When I reached there, remember this is just a startup. I reached there, and this bank, I'm not going to mention the bank, they asked me for 300K. 300,000 Ugandan shilling. Like, it's just a startup. How am I supposed to get this fund? I was expecting like 100K. Okay. So it was a shock for me. I had to leave the bank. I had to move.
300K for them to just hold the money, or
yeah,
do what with your 300K?
So that I qualify to open up
a
business account. Yeah, this is true. If you have experienced this, you know. So with the emergence of fintechs, I mean, they just collaborate with these traditional banks. They leverage their technology, and they can reach out to the last mile person. As we all know, we all have mobile money accounts. And with your mobile money account, you can do anything. I mean, you can do shopping from the convenience of your home or wherever you are. You just go to your maybe e-commerce platforms like Jumia and all that you use. You select whatever it is that you want, and you make orders. So what am I trying to say? With the emergence of fintechs and leveraging this technology, of course, fintechs, they lose technology like data analytics and artificial intelligence. So they have helped these traditional financial institutions to pick up their game. They are now competing, and they have tried to reach out. They have gone to the villages. You all know about agent banking. They're just trying to compete with these fintechs. When you look at now, most women, save for those days when they would go, they have their mudala, these small stores. They make their money at the end of the day. They have to go back with cash at home. And the husbands will do what? They'll take the money away from them, maybe to go and drink. But today, these women, at the end of the day, they can put their money on their account. It is digital. And the PIN, it is secret code. So the husband, they may beat them up, but their money is what? Their money is safe. And now also, we know that previously, you'd need identification. They need an ID, or maybe if you have a passport, let's see if you're lucky, they would need you to have something. At least you don't just go to the bank and say, I want to open up a bank account, and it is all smooth. Okay, what's your name? What is it that you're doing? No. You have to have a documentation. And also, right now, previously, the women and the youth, they lacked financial literacy. They were not educated. They didn't know about all these things. I've had women say, I can't go to the bank. Like those people who are in the bank, they all look this high class. So, but right now, with your phone, you can sit on your phone and open up even a bank account, a digital bank account on your phone without going anywhere. And the requirements are so minimal. The women who want to develop themselves, previously, you needed collateral. What do you have to put here so that you get a loan? But it's not the case anymore because of the fintechs. Just sit on your mobile phone because these fintechs have collaborated with the banks. So you can use your phone to open up an account in the convenience of your home and with minimal requirements as compared to fintech, to previous methods. So all in all, fintechs have really played a very big role in the financial inclusion of women and the youth at large. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charlotte. So I think with what you have just told us, we're able to also help the baby boomers be able to come on board. There is no need of them fearing to get into the banking halls anymore, because like you've said, someone goes in the banking hall and they're wondering, how am I going to face this sophisticated looking, teller? So just at their homes, they're able to use the services that the fintechs are providing. Let's now go to Sharon, the lawyer. And she says this is very personal for her. So Sharon, I'll break down this question into two. What legal measures should the innovators prioritize when scaling digital solutions?
So I think the most important thing about the question is scaling. So we presume the business has moved from the early stages of development, and now you're looking to expand, because that's exactly what scaling is. So when you're scaling your business, you're looking to look attractive to third parties, such that they can either influence your business and make it and push it to the next stage. We need to differentiate this from business growth. Unlike business growth, that requires more resources, more personnel for you to grow the business. With scaling, you're using the same resources, basically the same stuff, but thinking different, expanding your thinking and being more creative, such that your business reaches new markets and attracts investors. So the first thing you need to do is the product that you've created, your innovation. You need to do a 360 protection of that product. Now that's where intellectual property comes in. Intellectual property comes from the word intelligent. Intellectual in itself is a creation of the mind, works that you use your mind to create and make something tangible. It may not be seen or felt, but it's a creation of your mind, something that your mind came up with. So whenever you come up with a product, the first thing you need to think about is in which types of intellectual property and what rights over this property can I enjoy. There are different types of intellectual property. However, I'm going to emphasize four of them that are important to this conversation. The first one is patents. Since we are talking about innovations, patents are very important because you're coming up with a new invention, and this is the category under which patents fall. So when you come up with something that is new, a new idea, a new working process, a new device, a new way of doing things, something that solves a problem, because it doesn't need to only be new or novel, but it needs to be able to be impactful and solve an already existing problem. So you under patents, you're able to protect your rights although for a limited time, usually 20 years, but you're able to have exclusive rights to use your product, to use your service, and also to vend it out to third parties through licensing. So this is something that is very attractive for investors. You're looking to scale your business, so you're looking for money. I don't know whether some of you have watched The Apprentice, the show called The Apprentice. I'm hoping as innovators you've watched it. But whenever these people pitch their ideas to the investors, the number one negotiating item on the table is they usually offer you money or funding to do your business, but they ask you whether you can transfer your patent rights. Because you've come up with an innovation, that is something that is new, how you develop your app or maybe how you're doing your business. If it is patented, this is something that you can use as a chip to negotiate over the table for favorable funding. Another thing is copyrights. I know musicians have ruined copyrights for all of us because everyone now thinks copyrights is sound, music, but copyrights encompasses so many things. Just like the word says, copy, anything that can be published, anything of unique authorship can be protected. So here, for innovators, you need to think about your software programs and apps. These things can be copyrighted. Your code, how you developed the app, this is something that you need to protect. But most innovators, most people who are developing these apps or developing these websites, you're very passionate about solving the problem, but you need to also equally be interested in making money from your idea. So please protect your code, protect the ideas of your mind. Trademarks, I think all of us understand trademarks. These are things that you use in branding, your name, the name of your product, how your product looks like, the logo, all these things. Make sure that you register them, because this is what differentiates your product on the market. The last thing is trade secrets. When you work as an innovator, you usually work with a group of people. These are people who are usually your friends, people that you know, and you usually have feelings of kinship with these people. But you need to protect your idea, the process, the formula, the connections, the devices that you use, the methods that you use to develop your product are actually very important. This is not information you should freely give out. Now you need to sign NDAs with these people. Basically, as a group, when you're developing an idea, have non-disclosure agreements. This makes your product, it attaches a certain value to it, because it means that no one is going to go to third parties divulging information of how you develop your product. So enter into NDAs with the people you work with third parties, vendors and suppliers, so that you can protect the uniqueness of your process. I'm very passionate about intellectual property, but I don't want to talk your head off. Let me move to data protection and privacy. Most of you are coming up with solutions to solve normal world problems. It means that the end user is actually a person, a human being. And for this product to be worth anything, worth its salt, it means that these people need to give you some type of information. And because they're doing that, governments, states globally have made sure that they can protect the end user at the end of the day. So the first thing you need to do as an innovator, look at the General Data Protection Regulation formed by the EU, and also the local version of it, because that formed the blueprint for our local law. Data Protection and Privacy Act. Those are the governing laws for data protection and privacy in Uganda. Make sure that you are aligning with the standards, the global standards. You are not violating people's privacy, all in the name of creating a solution. So if someone is offering a personal identifying information like age, sex, where they live, make sure that this information is well protected. Now that takes me to the PDPO's office. Make sure that you register. Register with the PDPO's office if you have a digital solution, because you're collecting personal data, and they are the agency charged with overseeing and supervising all works that collect personal data. Make sure you have a privacy policy in place, such that any amount of data that you're collecting follows certain procedures, both internally and externally, such that it can meet set standards. I'll summarize the rest. Contractual obligations are something startups usually ignore. When you're starting business, every conversation you have is actually part of your business process, and it is important that you do not have verbal agreements with people. These are things that cannot be protected in court at the time of dispute resolution. Usually when people enter into agreements with people, you're fond of these people, you understand each other, there are no external factors or circumstances that can affect their integrity. However, this is something that can arise at the stage of scaling. You have been bidding, you've written a proposal, and now the funds have come in. You need to be intentional about protecting yourself and the integrity of your innovation. So enter into legally enforceable contractual obligations. Let everyone's rights be stated. Their responsibilities and liabilities should be very clear, such that in case a dispute arises, you can go back to a written document to inform court that, oh, this is what we actually agreed on. This person maybe violated my rights, and this is what we say the dispute resolution mechanism will be. Very important for innovators is the arbitration clause. Pay keen attention to the arbitration clause in any agreement that you will ever sign in your life, because most businesses have failed because of this clause. This clause basically says that whenever we have a dispute, this is the first thing that we'll do, because parties usually agree that they will amicably enter into contracts and also solve their disputes amicably. So this helps you have power over who will make sure that they arbitrate your matter. The jurisdiction of arbitration should always be the law that you're most conversant with. Make sure the governing law of your contract, for example, is the law of Uganda, and the site of arbitration, the location of arbitration is Uganda. It will be very unfortunate for you to not read that clause and find out the arbitrator is probably in Texas, and you cannot access the arbitrator, neither can you afford the services of that arbitrator. Lastly, enter into cyber insurance policies. There are so many players on the market offering them now, such that in case of data breaches and damages that arise from therein and downtime, you are able to compensate affected parties and also recover your business and take it back as far as possible to where it was. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Sharon, for that elaborative insights. And by the way, she mentioned Apprentice. You don't have to worry about if you haven't watched Apprentice. Here at HiPipo, Mr. Innocent Kawoya has a particular season where we have incubators. So if you have not watched it, please make sure you contact HiPipo. Come, you watch Apprentice right here in Uganda. You don't have to switch on your TV. It's right here in this room. You'll get to know. And I think during that time, we need to invite Sharon to tell us more about the legal bit. Let's go to you, Emily. As a young innovator, what advice do you have for the young innovators out there?
Okay, so as a young innovator, the advice I have is not much, but these are the few things I can tell all of you to look into, yes? So we face a challenge of lack of funds, but then we are in a world that's very digital. There's a lot of technology around us. Therefore, you should make use of the technology and the digital life that we're living right now. The funds you have can easily install apps like Canva, Figma, and very many others that you can utilize in your businesses to make the most out of them, yes? And you can cut costs on looking for people to do for you simple things that you can design on your phone. Another thing is you should enroll and look for things online that can easily direct you into the direction of getting funds. For example, there are very many people who are out there giving grants, donations with purpose, of course, but you just have to look for them. We had a speaker here, chairperson of IEEE Uganda. Yes, so that's one of the websites you can look into. Then you need to focus and understand your target market so that when it comes to time for you to sell out your product, you're easily able to get back the profits that you think you deserve, because you know your market and you know where and how to curb any issues you may face with them. Therefore, when you go to the market, make sure you know the market. And then when you're marketing your product, make sure you get the customer's feedback so that you can keep on improving your product. And then you should collaborate with partners and organizations that share similar interests as yours. Organizations that are ready to build you, organizations that you can learn from. For example, HiPipo. For the ladies here, there is a Women in FinTech hackathon that they normally organize yearly. Therefore, to build yourself, you can join them and you can learn from what they teach and you can learn from the other ladies that are there. Then you need to align yourself and how you want to carry out your business. That personally starts from you. You need to understand the things that you exactly want from your business, how you want and envision it to be, so that you do not get mixed feelings or idea clashes, so that you are ready and aligned to properly carry out the mission of your business. And then, of course, you need to be ready to face challenges. One thing I've learned, and I think is a take home, is that it's not about the success, the immediate success that you receive from the business ventures you carry out, from the meetings you have with people. But it's the moments when you fail, but you try again, and from the failures that you go through, that's where your success story begins, and that's how you get better. So instead of relying on the fact that I failed before, you're supposed to be able to get up as an entrepreneur and understand that yes, it's failure, but you can make it through. And that's how, of course, we know a prominent person who made the light bulb. He failed about, actually, he doesn't call it failure. He said he tried about 1,000 times, but it wasn't the right way until he tried again and he was able to make the light bulb. Yes, thank you so much and have a blessed day.
Oh, a blessed day from you, right? Thank you, Emily. But yeah, true. When you fail, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You have to be able to get up and start again. If you find successful people and you're able to ask them how they've got to where they are, they'll be able to tell you those stories, those amazing stories that have made them who they are and why they're successful. Emily, I now understand why you are very keen when the chairperson of IEEE was in the room and there's so many questions that you are asking him. I think for you, it was really a personal thing. You really need to understand here from him. As we talk about the elephant in the room of funding, we need to be able to also watch out for who can help us. And help is not a problem. It's how we use it. And to you, Bridget, how can women innovators navigate funding challenges? As we've seen, the elephant in the room is funding. How can we be able to navigate the funding challenges, particularly in the male-dominated industry? How can we voice out these, beautiful voices of women? How can we be able to tell the people who are able to fund us to overcome whatever challenges that we have?
My advice or the strategies that we would take are not very different from what Emily has said. However, there is a caption on Instagram that a lot of women like to use. You cannot compete where you cannot compare, to their secret enemies. But I believe we should be applying that in business. To be able to compete with men, we need to be able to be compared with men. If you're presenting your business, your pitching, it should be top notch. Just because you're a woman, the people in the room are not going to give you leverage just because you're a woman. No, you're competing with men. That means your business proposal should be up to standard. There's a criteria. If it's about revenue projections, if it's statistics, investors want to see the returns on investment. Make it clear. Don't use being a woman as an excuse. We already have a lot of challenges. We cannot want shortcuts just because we are women. We need the extra help, but we need to be able to compare with men. So one, start with make sure your business case is top notch. While your enemies on Instagram are there, the men also exist in the real life. So start with that. Secondly, we can also look for funding that is made specifically for women. While we want to compete with men in the bigger picture, there are still funding or platforms that are focusing on women and gender equality. We should be focusing on those. Those are the first ones you apply for. The ones that are calling for women entrepreneurs, High Innovator, NSSF High Innovator Accelerator had one recently, and a lot of women received seed funding. A number of you could be here as well. So we start with the ones that already are tailor-made to us. Secondly, we as women need to be able to use the advantage of women. There is that thing that men keep saying, wait again. But I'm not saying dress indecently or do things, position yourself. If we're talking about women in FinTech, why are you not part of us in HiPipo, in the platform for women in FinTech? You should be joining networks like that put you in position to meet people, interact with people that are in your space, people that are facing the same challenges as you. You should be positioning yourself. Wait again in the position, in the field and industry your innovation is in. You shouldn't be waiting for someone to tell you, oh, there is this existing. There is this for you. There is this. Be the one to forefront yourself. Be the one looking out for such opportunities. Also, as we need to, I don't know how to put this. As women, there is a certain thing that is everyone is limited to. They have an idea of feminism, depending on your privileges. But for us to advocate for women equality, or to advocate for us to be compared to men or put in spaces in male-dominated industries, we need to address the bias that is already existing in the industry. So don't sit back as a woman and say, well, it doesn't affect me because of the privileges already experiencing. My privilege of coming here today is different from a woman that didn't make it to her workplace today because her husband said, you cannot go to work. Why are you as a woman going? So my challenges as a woman are not the same as hers, but it doesn't mean I will not advocate for her needs. We need to face the bias head on. Join the networks. I am here today because a number of women decided to march. That's why I'm seated here today. We are here today, a panelist full of beautiful women, because people a long time ago decided we as women need to be involved in discussions like this, which is amazing. So don't sit back as a woman and hope that all the world will change because me as one person, I'll not make a difference. If everyone said that wouldn't be making change, wouldn't be having female presidents. So let's attack the bias head on. We could also look at advocating for, look out for funding, crowdfunding. A number of you have heard about GoFundMe. GoFundMe eliminates all these other middle parties. So you and the people that believe in your dream or believe in your struggle, believe in your innovation can now have a platform where you can ask for funds. You have purpose funding from FinTechs like PesaJet. Advocate for them, fight for them, apply. The criteria is, and as a woman, you might have the benefits that other people might not experience. So leverage on those, leverage on being a woman. Do not look at it as a disadvantage. It has its disadvantages already, but the advantages that we can utilize as women. Also, last but not least, show expertise in the field that you're in. Read something, learn something. There's always the technology is changing. AI. If you're innovating in the construction space, why are you not looking at green technologies for sustainability? Because the future, the people that are wanting to invest now want to invest in impact. They want to invest in things that advocate for sustainability. We have the Sustainable Development Goals. Look into that line. Me personally, I'm taking a course in finance and AI. We're trying to decentralize AI. I'm not wanting to be an expert, but I want the knowledge. Just because Uganda hasn't yet adopted using AI in finance because of a number of reasons, doesn't mean I'm going to wait for it. I am decentering finance now. Thank you.
Wow. Bridget, I couldn't agree with you more. You've actually really nailed it. As women, we need to get up, get into the trenches, and make sure that we fight for these positions. They're out there for us to grab. It's the way we position ourselves. And for you, Charlotte, let's go to our next question. What role do partnerships with fintech companies play in driving innovation affordability? Affordability is the key word.
I must say that without partnership, there is no growth. As we all know, our financial services sector was so stagnant before the fintechs. When the fintechs came, they pushed these people. They actually forced them. They were just there very comfortable in their big buildings, and these small fintechs, the startups came up, and they penetrated villages, remote areas where these people, they just ignored them. They didn't think that they counted until these small startups that they first ignored actually at the beginning came up, and people actively subscribed, joined, and they saw, we are being left behind. And they became to be active. So partnerships is utilizing each other's resources, capabilities, to develop payment solutions that can meet all our needs. So talking about affordability. Previously, having financial inclusion for everyone, it was really very difficult because it was very expensive. Today, because of these partnerships, for example, I can give the partnership of MTN with Jumo, that is, they have a product Mokash, and then Airtel with Jumo Steel, Wewole. So today, this very simple woman, talking about women and youth, this very simple woman can go to her phone and get a loan, maybe to add to her business. And also, these partnerships, they have helped these big institutions to learn that we should make products or services that are tailor-made. Previously, it was just a universal thing, loan, you're giving loan. We have this. But today, because of fintechs, they were very intentional. For fintechs, they don't just come up and like, okay, let us do this. No, they are very intentional. They observe, they make their research, they observe, this is needed here in Kamosha. And they will make exactly that. So we see that governments, these traditional financial institutions, they have copied this. And they are making products that are very affordable and accessible to each and every person, hence making an inclusivity of financial services and products to each and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. I think we also must agree that collaboration is very important. We are here today seated in this room because, as you can see on the beautiful background, you can see all the sponsors. So if HiPipo doesn't collaborate with others, try to get partners to help, I don't think we'll be able to scale and be where we are. So it's also very important for us to note that, and also to also put in mind, you've seen the telcos and the fintechs. The services these days are affordable, if we may put it that way, because a while ago, we're sending money. When you are sending money, the charge was high. But if you've noticed of late, you're sending money at just 1,000 shillings, 1,500. What excuse can we have as women not to take up these innovations that people have come up with? The cost of calling is lower. These days, you can be able to call someone using your data. If you walk into a place, I've seen a password today. If people have taken advantage, that's already something. You can be able to call someone, do business. So don't sit back and wait for someone to wake you up. And to you, Sharon, the lawyer, how can government, this here is at my heart, so I'm asking you, how can government and the policymakers create an enabling environment for young women and youth in innovation?
I think let me start with the policymakers. I feel like the support for women needs to be embedded in legislation by design. Supporting women should be through policy at the high level in legislation, and also the policies that affect women day-to-day lives at the workplace. The policies should be geared towards eliminating discrimination, so anti-discriminative practices. Women should be able to feel safe when they are at work, should feel like they are included in the process of litigation, the process of legislation. They should be consulted. So in the governance structure of government, I'm actually happy that we have our patron, Joyce Ebugwao, Miss Joyce Ebugwao, the State Minister for ICT and National Guidance. So it is good for women to be included in decisions on that level, because it's the Ministry of ICT actually that created innovation hubs. So the first thing that government can do is include women at every level of legislation, include them in consultations, let them be included in the consultation such that they can voice out their concerns and share feedback. That is for policy. Women should feel safe to go to work with their children. This women face the problem of being the primary caretakers of their children and their families. So policies that affect the workplace should include the social lives of women, such that women feel safe to leave home, leave work, and such that they can engage in innovation. Another thing government can do is improve the education and training. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are predominantly male-led fields. So government has done so much in the last few years to include women. And recently, they're trying to include a curriculum that encourages women and young women and boys to engage in STEM. However, these efforts need to start at a much lower level. By the time someone reaches high school, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer at 12. So it means by the time I was still in primary, I knew exactly who I wanted to be. So I've formed my mind throughout all those 7 years of studies. So it means that government should have met me much, much earlier, not at high school, such that they can encourage me to study sciences. So we should embed the study of sciences in the day-to-day lives of young girls and young boys, in the games we play with them as children, in the nursery school rhymes we sing with them, and also in the activities and co-curricular activities they engage in primary school. That will make sure that we create a generation of STEM-focused youth by the time they reach high school. Also, another important thing will be the digital literacy programs. These can be found at innovation hubs. Government currently has set up a couple of innovation hubs. I don't know whether any of you have been to them. There is one at UICT in Nakawa. There is one at Kampala University, Sorority University, at Moni University. These innovation hubs are accessible to young people. For you to get a working space, be creative, interact with other innovators, and develop your ideas. However, I think that government could pick up is maybe to decentralize innovation from education, attaching innovation to literacy, to studying, book smart studying is affecting people. Very few young people, including the ones in the room, will find it hard to walk into a university merely to access an innovation hub. That is something government could look into, make these innovation hubs easily accessible. It could be maybe wherever health centers are found, to target young teenage girls who are pregnant. Maybe it will give them something to look forward to whenever they have their babies. It could be maybe placed in entertainment areas where youth usually frequent during day due to unemployment, since they cannot be engaged in productive work during the 9 to 5. So that's something maybe government could look into and improve. And also backing on the other point that I say that they should include women and youth in policy making. Government should encourage and create role models out of women who are successful, especially in innovation. It helps so much for women to see people who look like them, being successful, doing the big things, sitting at the table of men. This is something that little girls everywhere can look at and be encouraged to engage in the same. So we should create government should be encouraged to partner with private players like HiPipo. Since HiPipo is the best example I have of dedication to supporting women, understanding the social constraints that hinder women from achieving their biggest dreams. So creating a platform for women, let young girls see these women be successful, have voices, and innovate. Another thing would be for connections and networking. Government can create platforms for where women and youth directly interact with policymakers for consultation and just knowledge exchange. Women need to feel heard. You can have all the ideas you have with your peers, but there are certain rooms that you need to enter into, certain conversations you need to have with some people for whatever idea that you birth in your mind to come to life. So government is the biggest player on this market to bridge this gap. So I hope they could look into that, because I'm sure all of us on this panel are looking forward to sitting in certain rooms. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Oh, yes, definitely. We're looking forward to sitting in certain rooms, but we also must not forget, when government provides all these beautiful things that we've talked about, at the end of the day, it is you to get up and make use of what the government has put into place. So as we expect them to do all this work for us, when they do it, let us as women get into those spaces. Let's not wait for someone to push us. We have to be ready to go.